A very good evening to all of you, Excellencies, dear members of the Standing Commission who are all sitting up here now, ladies and gentlemen, dear Red Cross colleagues and friends. After a hard day's work, it really is a pleasure to welcome you to what I believe will be a very, very nice and inspiring short ceremony tonight. We are all here now to celebrate outstanding and extraordinary service to our movement. The Standing Commission has decided to award 3 very highly distinguished Red Cross and Red Crescent personalities tonight. And as you know, this medal is the highest distinction of the movement. And we start without further ado. May I invite Dr. Shimelis Adunga, we all know him as Ato Shimelis, to join me up here on the stage. And also the Secretary General of the Ethiopian Red Cross, Frevert Worku, who will read the tribute for Ato Shimelis.
Thank you. Dr. Shimelis Adunga joined the Ethiopian Red Cross Society after a long career in public administration. After studying social service administration in India, Ato Shimelis returned to Ethiopia and contributed in many areas to the improvement of the lives of his countrymen. A successful path in the public sector brought him to the position of Minister of Labor and Social Affairs and numerous other positions of responsibility in the service of his country. As a commissioner for the Relief and Rehabilitation Commission of the Ethiopian government, Dr. Shimelis made considerable contributions to save the lives of many Ethiopians affected by the drought in 1984-85 by mobilizing international resources and providing support to Ethiopian Red Cross response operations. As president of the regional branch office in Addis Ababa, Dr. Shimelis used his knowledge and expertise to develop service for the vulnerable and the needy and to make the office more efficient. His impressive track record led him to the presidency of the Ethiopian Red Cross in 2000. During his 8-year tenure, Dr. Shimelis strengthened and expanded the network of ambulance services and renewed the fleet. He promoted the role of the Ethiopian Red Cross as auxiliary to the public authorities and facilitated the initiation of the building of 22 blood banks. He vigorously developed and strengthened the National Society's capacity to respond to disaster and humanitarian needs and successfully mobilized local resources to cover the Society's core budget. Dr. Shimelis built up the capacity of the branch network to address a range of issues. He used his negotiation and communication skills to facilitate contact between the Society's headquarters and branches and to establish links between the Society's national board and branch local authorities to obtain regular funding in different regions to ensure sustainability of the branches. Dr. Shimelis directed his experience and attention to strengthening the capacity of national societies in Africa. He promoted many initiatives for the continent and made considerable effort to enhance cooperation with neighboring national societies in the area of emergency preparedness and response. During his term as president of the Ethiopian Red Cross Society, he concluded partnerships with 14 national Red Cross and Red Crescent societies in diverse areas of activities. As vice president of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Society, he hosted a special session of the governing board in Addis Ababa on how to further advance knowledge sharing and exchange of ideas within Africa and its national societies. He helped launch and promote important initiatives for the continent. One of many examples is the establishment of the new Partnership for Africa, Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, better known as NEPARC. He was an ardent supporter of bringing the movement's statutory meetings to Kenya in 2009, the first time the movement had convened in Africa. Mild and soft-spoken in his manner, Dr. Shimelis is hard and determined when it comes to defending and promoting the Ethiopian Red Cross Society and the movement. His knowledge and readiness to listen and to exchange experiences with others made him a valued member in many movement working groups and fora. For his personal commitment, his important contribution to the development of humanitarian activities, and his work in promoting the movement's fundamental principles and ideas, the Standing Commission of the Red Cross and Red Crescent has unanimously agreed to award Dr. Shimelis Adunya the Henry Dunant Medal, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement's highest distinction. Geneva, 26 November 2011. Dr. Massimo Barra, Chairman, Standing Commission of the Red Cross and Red Crescent. Thank you.
Our second laureate tonight is, I'm sure, equally widely and well known and respected. Our previous president of the International Federation, Dr. Astrid Heiber. Astrid, please join me here. May I introduce you to Knut Sverre, who is the president of the Norwegian Youth Red Cross. He will read the tribute for Astrid.
Dear everyone, Dr. Astrid Heiberg is a respected professor of psychiatry. Above and beyond her involvement in medical research and other professional activities, she is an active and well-known advocate for equal status for women and a committed campaigner against torture and other inhuman treatment. In parallel with their professional activities, Dr. Heiberg developed a deep interest in public service as a way of improving life in her country. Her position as Deputy Minister of Health and Social Affairs in the early 80s brought her into contact with the Norwegian Red Cross, where she became a volunteer and was increasingly involved in the society's activities. After a term as Member of Parliament, Dr. Heiberg was elected President of the Norwegian Red Cross in 1993. She steadily stepped up the society's development and its involvement in movement operations and programs. In 1991, the International Conference of the Red Cross and Red Crescent, set to take place in Budapest, was aborted because of unresolved participation issues. The conference had to be cancelled less than 24 hours before the opening ceremony. This incident left a deep scar, and many people outside and within the movement declared that the international conference would never recover from the blow. There were therefore many fears and uncertainties when preparing the next conference, due to take place in 1995. Dr. Heiberg, known for her professionalism and outstanding communication and bridge-building skills, was invited to chair this conference. Hoping to help the movement distance itself from its recent traumatic experience, She accepted the challenge without hesitation. She chaired the 26th International Conference with distinction. Her skill in combining firmness in matters of substance with flexibility and tact in chairing the debates was universally recognized. She succeeded in creating an atmosphere highly conducive to achieving important results, thus restoring the unity, cohesion, and credibility of the movement, which had been shattered only 4 years before. Dr. Heiberg was elected president of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies in 1997. Her open style of leadership enhanced the role of the vice president and the then executive council as the primary dialogue partners for the national societies. She encouraged the societies to play a more active role in the federation's decision-making and paid considerably attention to improved cooperation with the ICRC in all areas. These efforts resulted in a stronger movement. Dr. Heiberg was an ardent promoter of efforts to build the capacity of national societies. During her tenure, the regional capacity to respond to disasters and other emergencies improved considerably. She made a further important contribution by mobilizing resources to combat the HIV/AIDS pandemic throughout Africa and beyond. Not only did she succeed in raising awareness of the pandemic, she also took the lead in providing support and assistance for people who were especially vulnerable. She tirelessly traveled the world with a genuine interest in serving the movement and in promoting its action and humanitarian agenda. As the first female president of the International Federation, Dr. Heiberg set an example with her integrity, professionalism, and unwavering commitment. While her personal warmth and intellect put everyone at ease, she showed steadfast determination in her efforts to achieve agreed humanitarian goals. For her personal commitment, her contribution to the development of humanitarian activities, her work in promoting the movement's fundamental principles and ideals, and her contribution to restoring the movement's unity and credibility, the Standing Commission of the Red Cross and Red Crescent has unanimously agreed to award Dr. Astrid Nøkleby Heiberg the Henry Dunant Medal, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement's highest distinction.
Our third medal laureate tonight is Dr. Bosko Yakovlevich, known to most of you for his outstanding contributions in the field of IHL, International Humanitarian Law, and also IDRL. The tribute to Dr. Yakovlevich will be presented by Dr. Dragan Radovanovic, who is the president of the Red Cross of Serbia. Dr. Yakovlevich will then also speak on behalf of our laureates tonight.
Dr. Boško Jakovljević, Doctor of Law from the University of Belgrade, specialized in international humanitarian law after the Second World War, with a focus on the protection of the civilians in the time of war. This orientation led him to the RCRC in the early 50s, when he met and worked with his future mentor, Professor Jean Pictet, one of the most prominent people in the field. Dr. Jakovljević joined the Yugoslav Red Cross as a volunteer in his 20s, and the Red Cross has been an integral part of his life ever since. After completing his studies, he embarked on a professional career at Yugoslav Red Cross, where he was involved in providing legal advice, producing publications, and doing tracing work, eventually rising to the position of Director of International Relations. Throughout his long career, Dr. Jakovljević relentlessly pursued the aim close to his heart: spreading knowledge of international humanitarian law. Dr. Jakovljević has promoted IHL within and outside the movement and greatly contributed to its development. The depth of his knowledge and insight have made him a well-known figure in the movement and beyond. He has been actively involved in the National Society Commission on IHL, serving as its president from 1990 to 2000, and he is still its vice president. His service has been solicited not only by various movement components, but also by numerous universities and other external organizations. And as initiator of the codification of the law on the Red Cross disaster relief in 1964, Dr. Jakovljević contributed to and laid the building blocks for the principles and the rules for the disaster relief, which were adopted by the 21st International Conference of the Red Cross and Red Crescent in 1969. He advised the Commission on the movement statutes and rules of procedure in the 80s and contributed to the program of the Red Cross Red Crescent against racism and racial discrimination in 1982. He participated in and actively contributed to the outcomes of 2 peace conferences of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent, and was a member of the Red Cross Red Crescent Peace Commission. He has participated in 10 international conferences of the Red Cross and the Red Crescent. From 1974 to 1977, he was a member and served as secretary of his country delegation to the diplomatic conference on the additional protocol to the Geneva Conventions. Since his retirement in 1986, Dr. Jakovljević has been an active volunteer of the Red Cross of Serbia, dedicating his efforts to international disaster relief law and to the guidelines adopted by the 30th International Conference in 2007. A rigorous scholar, Dr. Jakovljević has been a living example for the promotion of IHL in every walk of the society. His expertise in and commitment to IHL has won him high esteem and inspired many to follow in his footsteps. Dr. Jakovljević is deeply sensitive to human suffering and continues to be involved in many humanitarian activities in the Balkan region. For his personal commitment, his important contribution to the development of humanitarian activities, and his work in the promotion of the movement's fundamental principles and ideals, the Standing Commission of the Red Cross and Red Crescent has unanimously agreed to award Dr. Boško Jakovljević the Henry Dunant Medal, the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement's highest distinction.
Dear friends, I think I have chosen the right word. Dear friends, because we cooperate with each other all the time. Different projects, but as time goes on, the cooperation is widening and deepening. There is always something to do for the Red Cross. When I say, when you are a soldier of this huge army of Red Cross members and supporters, then you can learn many important features of the movement. And when I say Red Cross, I mean also Red Crescent, with the same rights as the Red Cross, for the countries having that emblem. Now, I would like to draw your attention to a few comments just on some essential features of the movement as we see it. First is that there are no limits to Red Cross action, to Red Cross mandate, to Red Cross activities. Whenever you have human suffering, and human suffering is huge, and it's all the time widening and developing, the Red Cross can act, and that is his program of action. He began very in a limited way, but then as the years passed on, he's widening his activities to various situations and various fields, so that there is a constant change on the same principles, on the basis of the same principles. Another very important feature of the Red Cross is voluntary service. Voluntary service means nobody was forced to join the Red Cross, but you should also not be prevented from doing so. And this right of the people to decide about their engagement, that is a factor which contributed to the great expansion of the CRIF. I think that the number of members and of the countries would not be so big if it was compulsory. Now there is another, among the many points, there is another that I think deserves to be mentioned. Very early in its long history, the Red Cross movement was regarded as a contribution to peace, as a factor of peace. Already when the Red Cross was 30 years old, in 1901, the Nobel Peace Prize Committee awarded his first peace medal to two persons. One of them was the founder of the Red Cross, Henry Dunant. But they didn't stop at it. 4 more medals were awarded, this time to the organization, to the ICRC for its activity in the First World War, in his activity in the Second World War, which was extremely difficult to develop humanitarian action, but they did it very courageously. And then, after the war, when 1 century passed since the foundation of the Red Cross, the International Committee and the Federation was awarded for the 4th time the Red Cross was benefiting from the Peace Prize Award. So it was evident, there was no debate. To everybody it was clear that it is the contribution to peace, specific contribution in a peaceful way. Peace is not just absence of war. Peace is much more than that, as the Red Cross sees it. Peace is a permanent cooperation among all states and all peoples on very different subjects, but all having an aim to ensure respect for human being and his basic rights. Finally, I would like to point out make the last point of my addressing you. That is the fact that we live in the world of violence, violence is on the increase. Violence, traditional methods, and new forms, new types, and of course causing terrible victims, suffering people. And what are we doing with this violence? The Red Cross, by its own activity, the whole of its activity, contributes by its ideology, but its principles, and especially by its mission, is certainly contributing to fight this spirit of violence. And it is necessary to this world to have such an organization which raises against violence, not by arms. The Red Cross has no arms at all, but with his mission and his fundamental principles. Therefore, the world needs the Red Cross, and therefore it's my view that we should be proud to be the soldiers of this huge humanitarian army of volunteers. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Yakovlevich, for your very warm and wise words. Well, dear friends, I'm sure you all join me in once again congratulating warmly our laureates and in thanking them for their contributions to humanity and to building a better world. Now this short ceremony is coming to its close. Now we can go together, all of us, and celebrate our 3 medal recipients. The Federation and ICRC are hosting a reception. It's open out there. And there I'm sure you will also have a possibility to in person congratulate our distinguished guests of honor here tonight. So have a nice evening and enjoy the reception. Thank you.